I want to thank the ranking member for focusing on how disruption disrupts our entire economy and hurts every private sector decision maker. The ranking member points out that this administration was toying with the idea of, well, maybe we just won't make payments on our national debt. How is somebody supposed to do business and take all the risks involved in being in the private sector? How we have a 25% tariff on Canada, then we don't, then we might, then it depends on whether their prime minister says something nice about how our president looks. How is a community bank, and this is just a rhetorical question, supposed to decide whether to make a loan to a business when they don't know whether they're going to lose all their Canadian and Mexican sales next month? It's just throw, a wrecking ball at everything in our economy, gets good ratings, dominates the news cycle. I'd think it's hard to say that being a community banker is great when you have to deal with that. We got to make banking great, not just for the bankers and the community bankers, but for the consumers. So for God's sakes, we cannot abolish the CFPB. They produce $21 billion for consumers. We're going to save $6.1 billion on overdraft fees. The way to make a banking great is not to leave consumers without protection. Another thing that wasn't so great about banking a couple years ago was the collapse of several banks, including Signature Bank, where we're told that one of the factors was that the FDIC was understaffed. Now we're told that they're still understaffed, they don't have enough bank examiners, but 200 bank examiners who had offers are now seeing those offers pulled. Now those that barely qualified might wait around to see, but the ones with their most qualifications, the ones that are wanted by the private sector, they've got other jobs by the end of next week. So they're gone. But we also see the FDIC being told, if you work for the FDIC, hey, you can get 8 months' pay for quitting your job. Well, who's going to quit? The people who can easily get an even better job in the private sector. So we lose our best and our brightest. I'll ask Ms. Spoxer, if the FDIC is unable to prevent future bank failures, is that bad for the image of community banks and their ability to attract depositors?
It certainly is.
I thought that was an easy question. Now, community banks make mortgage loans. They can't afford to hold those loans on their balance sheet. They sell them to Fannie and Freddie. If we abolish Fannie and Freddie, is that good for community banks? Yes.
No, not at all.
So I would, okay. So then we have a law in Florida, which I hope this committee would see fit to preempt, that says anytime you're turned down for a loan in Florida, you can say, well, that's because of my political beliefs, and you start a state investigation. Is that good for community banks?
I'm not familiar with the law, sir, but it doesn't sound like it's good.
And it creates a circumstance where the federal law says that you'd better not reveal the fact that you filed a suspicious activity report, but the Florida law says you have to explain why you didn't want to do business with somebody who was suspicious. So you're in a conundrum where you're forced to do something by state law, prohibited doing something for federal law. Does that make community banking great?
It certainly creates compliance challenges.
Okay. And then we have rules that apply. Let's just say we still have a CFPB. there are those who say, well, we'll impose those rules on loans made in dollars, but we'll exempt crypto. Since banks have their deal with dollars, all of them I know, if they're at a competitive disadvantage for the crypto industry, does that make community banking great?
No, sir.
I yield back.